Hey guys, it's Dr. Mike. I want to talk to you today about a simple three-step process that you can do to break bad eating habits. So we're going to talk about a simple process today that you can use for any habit. We're going to talk about bad eating habits, but you could use this for anything. So one thing you have to understand about any habit is it's a three-step process. You have the cue, number one, the cue. Number two, the habit or the routine itself. And then number three is the reward. So let's talk about, you have the habit of snacking on chips, for example. It's a hard habit for you to break. So number one, you got to figure out what is the cue. When do you do this? At a certain time of day? Is it a certain environment? So let's say you do it when you're overly hungry. You're bored or you've waited too long to eat. You become overly hungry, and when we're overly hungry, we make bad decisions. So you're overly hungry, that's your cue. You have the habit itself of grabbing, ripping open the bag of chips and sitting on the couch and eating chips, or wherever, again, what the environment is for you. And then the reward. Well, we get the huge dopamine release from eating something that tastes good and salty and sweet and crunchy. So that's the reward. We get a dopamine release in our brain. So the first thing is that just understanding that process will help you tremendously of breaking any bad habit, but also setting a new habit. You understand that three-step process, that makes a huge difference. So let's break that habit now. So the cue, again, we understand the cue is when I'm overly hungry, you've waited too long to eat. So how do you break that? Well, eat more frequently. When we're not as hungry, we can make better decisions. So you snack on some healthy nuts, some raw nuts as you go throughout the day, or some celery and some healthy peanut butter. You get that crunch, but you're not as hungry, so you're not going to have that cue. So you've changed that habit. And so that's the new habit you're replacing it with. And then the reward, and this is really important because I fought this for a while because I thought, well, I'm a mentally strong person, I don't need that reward, but it's not for you per se, it's for your brain. And these neurological patterns are really deep. If they were easy to break, we wouldn't have bad habits, and we'd be able to develop new habits really easily. So you've got to develop that new groove in your brain, so to speak. So have a simple reward. In the beginning, I'd recommend to reward yourself every single time you do that habit for maybe the first week or two or three, depending on what type of habit you're trying to develop or break for that matter. So it might be simple of you really like a certain magazine, you get to go out and reward yourself by buying this magazine. My wife likes to take baths, so you get to sit in the bath for 20 minutes and read a book that you want to read. It could be a little piece of chocolate. If it's not if it's a nutritional habit you're trying to break, I wouldn't recommend that. But if it's a different habit, you could do just a tiny little piece of chocolate. So it doesn't take much, but you want to give yourself a reward, or a healthy mint for that example you could use in place of that. So use that three-step process, and again, you could apply it to anything in your life, and it also goes for developing new good habits as well. So try it out. I'd love to hear your feedback.